White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. And we are coming to you from historic Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, where tonight it'll be Game 3 of this 4-game set. Rick Renteria's Sox against John Farrell's first-place Boston Red Sox. And hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you Game 3 of this 4-game series. In the first game, they won that one 9-5. Then last night, in 11 innings, they won it 3-2. And well, it was a home run by the villain, Mitch Moreland.
Mitch Moreland was having some problems. In fact, he had a lot of foot problems, and it was really hurting his stroke. And he was trying to pull everything. It wasn't working out very well for him. But in this series, he's hit the ball to center field. He's hit the ball to left field. And he ended the ball game last night with a home run against Aaron Bummer. So taking the ball the opposite way is paying dividends for Moreland, who's 3 for 6 with a home run and 2 doubles in the series, and he's a fine defensive first baseman. So for him, it's working out now that he's going the opposite way.
Well, we've got two guys out here that are even doing better than we anticipated, and one of them by far.
But there's no doubt that Nicky Delmonico has made a nice name for himself in this series alone. He came here as a guy looking for some playing time. Hit his first major league home run. He's 5 for 9 in the series. He's driven in 5 runs combined. And Delmonico has had quite a series. Doesn't matter, lefty, righty on the mound. He seems to hit them both equally well. This one off the wall, drove in a pair, and Delmonico is tearing it up. You got Yoan Moncada coming back against a team that traded him away, and he's showing that, well, maybe he's going to be everything they thought and a little bit more, because the offense is there. He got a hit from both sides of the plate. The surprising thing has been the defense. He's been brilliant defensively. Here's just an example of it. Doesn't matter how far he has to range. He's got a good enough arm, and he's quick enough to be able to get there. So these two guys combined have done a whale of a job, and it's nice to see the youngsters coming through.
Well, that last play that Moncada made, that's just one of those Robinson Cano's plays right there. But on the bump tonight, a couple of veterans.
Well, we got James Shields going to the mound for us and Drew Pomerantz going to the mound for the Red Sox, and he's having a magnificent year. Pomerantz is 10-4. His last 3 starts, 1-0 with an ERA under 2. James Shields against the Red Sox has struggled. He's 9-13 against them. Remember, he was in the same division, so he's seen this club a lot. His ERA at 4.40. Last time out, he threw the ball pretty well. Hopefully more of the same here. This is a very good Red Sox team. They've got a 3-game lead over the Yankees. They're trying to hold them off. Let's see if James Shields can get the job done tonight.
All right, Game 3 of this 4-game set. So sit back, relax, and strap it down, because White Sox baseball coming your way.
Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. The national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Welcome back to Boston and historic Fenway Park. The Red Sox enter play tonight, 3 games ahead of the New York Yankees and playing good solid baseball, winners of 6 of their last 10. More importantly for them, they've won 4 games in a row. Here's the White Sox lineup brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. The best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the right price. Go to webcars.com. Tim Anderson leading it off, playing shortstop. Then it's Tyler Saladino, Jose Abreu. Kevin Smith, during his 5-game hitting streak, is tearing it up. Then Leury Garcia in right field. Juan Moncada, Nicky Delmonico is having a great series. Adam Engel and Alan Hansen as a designated hitter and hitting 9th. The defense, as John Farrell puts him out there for his Red Sox. Andrew Benintendi, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts in the outfield left to right with Rafael Devers. Eduardo Nunez playing shortstop. He is their jack of all trades with Brock Holt, also a fine swingman. And Mitch Moreland starting at first base. Christian Vasquez has the plate tonight. And our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Drew Pomeranz. He's 10-4, his ERA just below 3.5. There you look at the rest of the numbers, and they're pretty good. 119 strikeouts and 114 in the 3rd innings. The umpires for the game tonight. Mike Esterbrook has the plate. Dan Bellino's at first. The crew chief Jerry Lane at second. And Marvin Hudson has got 3rd base. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. It was raining most of the day today. The rain has cleared out, which is good news because we don't come back to Boston after the finale tomorrow afternoon. So we're ready to play baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here. CSN Chicago. So happy you could join us for game 3 of this 4-game set. Before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. His first pitch to Tim Anderson misses outside. Anderson comes in at 234, 9 homers and 30 driven in. 2 for 9 in this series with an RBI. That ball here, well, way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes. 2 pitches, 1 run. Ha ha.
And Tim Anderson has hit double figures. His 10th home run of the year. He's driven in 31. And didn't wait too long to put our Sox on top of their Sox. And we'll take a look at a towering home run, our 4th home run replay. Tim reached out, got this fastball. It was outside, probably off the plate. But he hits the daylights out of it. This gives you an idea how strong he is. This was a blast to left center field, and I mean, it was way up there off the light standard.
And of course, with that home run, the Alex Nelius family, a generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula. There's a strike. Saladino 2 for 6 in the series, comes in at 208. Our Sox hitting at 254 as a team with a 4.68 ERA. Pomeranz, 1 out.
Pomeranz doesn't have an overpowering fastball. What he does have, and it's a good one, and we haven't seen it yet, he's got a knuckle curve. It's actually a spike curve. In other words, he doesn't push it out with his 2 fingers. He just takes his index finger, curls it, puts it on top of the baseball. You can actually see it when he throws it, but the hitter doesn't have that much of an early warning. It's a very good pitch. It's his best, but he's feeling really comfortable when he uses a lot of cutters, and we'll take a look at that tonight to see if he ever gets comfortable.
Here's Jose. Takes a breaking ball strike. Abreu 1 for 8 in the series, and lifetime against Pomeranz 1 for 6. Now make it 1 for 7. Nunez. Go with 2 out. Check out our picks to click tonight. Fans, good pick, fans. We went with Tim. Crew's going with Tyler. Steve's going with Kevin. George Jacobs and I. George, a great White Sox fan. We're going to go with Nicky Delmonico, even though he's a left-handed hitter against the left-handed pitcher, last night he showed us it didn't bother him one bit.
Well, there would be some that would think you're a front runner, but I'm not one of those guys. I just thought I should bring that up.
Don't go there. Jim Lonborg was up here. I'll tell you, you pitchers are all alike. Was Jim Lonborg Cy Young Award winner in 1967.
You're going to come back to see him when you guys congregate here for the 50th anniversary, and that's coming up. It's right around the corner.
August 16th, 50th anniversary of our World Series team.
That's going to be exciting for you and everybody who's coming back to celebrate.
Yeah, the ones that are still alive.
Well, there won't be a big crowd, but they'll be enthusiastic.
That's understated. 50th anniversary. Wow. 1-2 pitch to Kevin. Yeah, I think Lonnie was. He won the Cy Young. I think he won 22 games that year. Hit about 130 guys.
Can't beat that. They can't hit you if you hit them.
That's what his motto was, his mantra, as he gets Kevin. But leadoff homer by Anderson as we take another look at it, and it's 1-0 Good Guys.
It's going to be Betts, Holt, and Benintendi at the top with Nunez, Devers, and Young in the middle, followed by Moreland, Vasquez, and Bradley Jr. The defense, and how they're going to line up behind James Shields, Delmonico, Engel, and Garcia in the outfield with Tyler Saladino, Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada, Jose Abreu in the infield, Kevin Smith behind the plate, and our Lexus experienced amazing starting pitcher is James Shields. Numbers career-wise against the Red Sox aren't great. His ERA 6.19. 2-3 coming into action here tonight.
So here is Mookie Betts hitting at .269, 18 homers and 69 driven in. He has faced Shields 3 times, has a couple of hits. Betts 1 for 9 in the series with a long home run. And he just misses that one. Nicky is there. 1 out.
This year, James Shields has had some problems, especially with the high fastball. Hitters hitting close to 380 against him on high fastballs. That ranks him close to the bottom of the major leagues.
Well, you being a big proponent of high fastballs at the right time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. At the right time. And I don't like high fastballs in the strike zone. I love high fastballs just out of the strike zone.
Yeah, if you're going to pitch up and at the wrong time and the wrong count, you're probably going to get hurt bad.
Don Cooper loves high fastballs, but he loves them in an area called higher than high. Here's a guy for the Red Sox who is a terrific all-purpose player. They only had him until they got Nunez, and Nunez does exactly what Holt does in that he can play any position you want him to play.
There's a strike in the count 1-2. Holt. All-purpose player. He's faced Shields 2 times, has 1 hit. He's a feisty little guy. Booted.
That one came off with a lot of side spin, and so when Tyler went to get it, you could almost see the ball moving to his right. And it does go as E5. And as that ball does go to his right, he's not able to get the glove there and scoots right by him.
Just a second error on the season for Tyler, who has good hands. And Steve framed it perfectly. That spin got him. And then Tindy. '23-year-old, 3 for 8 in the series with an RBI, comes in hitting at .265, 12 homers, and he's knocked in 55. Outfield, they're spread out slightly, just slightly to the right. Red Sox come in hitting at .263 as a team with a 4.23 ERA. They are 34-20 here at Fenway. Ball hit high and deep. And it's 2-1. Red Sox.
Andrew Benintendi is going to be a wonderful player. He's very good now. That's his 13th home run. He's driven in 57. He gives the Red Sox the lead. James Shields, who's had some big problems keeping the ball in the ballpark, throws a cutter and it's gone. It's our 4th home run replay. As you can see, it doesn't do a great deal, and when it ends up in the hittable spots, it's thigh high, inner portion. Those go a long way, and this one no exception. For James, that's a 16th home run he's given up in 57 innings. That is a very high total.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
And the irony of the first place Red Sox playing in Fenway Park, they now have 112 home runs. Our guys have 121.
I mean, they do miss Big Papi. He's the guy in the middle that made him go, but in his place, Benintendi plays every day. Betts is just a wonderful player. And they brought Devers up, which gives him another solid bat from the left side. You can't replace Big Papi. They knew there was going to be a fall off, not only what he did on the field, but what he meant to this team off the field.
Leadership in the clubhouse is becoming a lost art, and for that reason it is becoming more important than it's ever been. And as I mentioned, there are fewer and fewer leaders in that clubhouse.
Can you can develop a lot of things in this game. Do you believe that you can develop a leader?
No question about it.
How would you go about, let's say you ran the ball club, you had some guys who were pretty good and there was 4 or 5 in the same spot. How would you pick one and develop him as the leader.
Well, Steve, the way you would do it today is completely different from the way you'd do it 40 or 50 years ago. As popped up, the way you will do it is Nicky now makes the catch for out number 2. The way you do it today is, as I said, a lot different. It used to be 40, 50 years ago, you could come into a new club. In fact, that's one reason Alvin Dark traded for me. He wanted me to come over and help straighten that Cleveland ball club up. But after I was there a couple of months, I saw that it wasn't going to get done, only because you had a lot of guys who the only thing they thought about was the 1st and the 15th.
So pulling in opposite directions anyway, and they didn't have the priorities straight.
Exactly. So at that point, then what you had to do is you had to take physical control sometimes of the guys, you know, which back in that day was done. That no longer is an issue. That no longer is done.
Well, you never really heard about it in those days. It was handled in-house entirely, and it never got out.
No, the writers back in those days, if you and I got into a fight, it was never in the papers. The writers protected the players.
Good thing, because I'd be dead.
Well, the writers protected them back in those days. They don't today. So it's an entirely today what you have to do. Now, we have a guy who is very capable of becoming leader on this ball club, and that's Abreu. But he is going to have to learn how to speak better English. You can't do it through an interpreter. Billy Russo does a great job. Billy's got to work hard for him with our ball club. But you can't do it through an interpreter. And as he gets him, but the 2-run homer, Benintendi and his 2-1 Red Sox.
Presented by State Farm, and we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching in Indiana on Lightstream in Pulaski and Fulton counties.
It's a 2-1 ball game here in the 2nd inning. But, you know, getting back to Abreu, he is the guy who can be the leader of this ball club. But he's got to be able to go up to any player on this team when something goes wrong. Players today don't police themselves and take care of things as they did when you and I played. We took care of that. The manager didn't have, if somebody was loafing down the line, when he got back to that dugout, he's got 1 or 2 guys that say, you do that again and you're going to have to fight me. So that was a done deal. We took care of that ourselves. That is no longer the case. Now our guys have bought into Ricky Renteria and what he's trying to do. Now they bust their behinds, because what Ricky did earlier in the season, he pulled 3 guys out of the lineup on 3 separate occasions. Now all of a sudden that registers to everybody, and now they don't want to be embarrassed, so they bust their behinds now down the line. But you got to be able to go up. I don't care who it is. If Jose, who he is the closest to being a leader on our ball club, he's got to be able to go up, get right in his face and say, don't do that again. We don't, that's not the way the White Sox play baseball.
Well, he's got the personality to do that, because he consistently strives to be excellent in every aspect of the game. Now, like everybody else, you fail sometimes, but it's not for lack of effort. And it's that kind of effort and that kind of approach to the game in every aspect that good leaders have. And you're right. I think he'll grow to that, but you're also right in the fact that as his English comes along, he's going to be able to be the leader of the entire team, which is what you're looking for.
Right. Well, right now he is the leader, certainly, of the Latin contingent.
No question.
And he has the presence to be the leader of all our players.
He does.
So the Uri is thrown out, 1 down. But you need a leader in that ball club. In fact, Ricky and I were talking about that the other day. You know, Ozzie took over the leadership of our club in '05, towards the end of the season when we were absolutely spitting it out. And Cleveland was coming on like gangbusters. Ozzie took over, and that club at that point adopted his personality. And I don't think you've ever seen it in your career. I know I haven't seen it in my career. If you don't have a leader on that ball club, 100% of the time, that club's going to take the personality of the manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time.
Yeah.
100% of the time. And
Well,
managers don't want to have to be the leader of the ball club, because that way the players will start policing themselves.
Well, the one thing that this team has found out about Ricky Renteria, there's a couple things, but the one thing for sure is we watch that little chopper.
Doesn't get him.
No, you're not going to get anybody with that kind of speed, even from the right side. You're not going to get him on that little chopper in the infield. Moncada has got blazing speed. And so when this one gets by Pomerantz, there's absolutely no chance at all for Holt. I mean, Holt does the best he could possibly do.
He did a heck of a play on it.
But he couldn't get it there in time. And you're looking at one of the faster men in this game of baseball in Yoan Moncada.
So here's Delmonico, 5 for 9 in this series. Now, in this series, in the first 2 games, we've scored 7 runs, and he's driven in 5 of them. 6'3", 220 pounds, in case you're wondering. He is not a small man.
But I was talking about Ricky and a
Yeah.
couple things that the team has learned about him. Number one is that he is a very nice man, which is not essential for a manager. You don't have to be a nice man. Ricky happens to be one of those. But also the team has learned something fairly early into this season, and that is Ricky will not put up with anything less than what he expects out of his players on a daily basis. If you do that, he's not going to hit you over the head. He's not going to, suspend you. He's just going to talk to you, and if need be, as he did earlier this year, he's going to take some playing time away, which at the end of the day is the only thing managers can do. You can't find a guy enough money with the way the guys are making money these days, but playing time is something a manager has control over, and that will get through to the players, and it has on this team.
Yeah, they all understand it, and they all, as I said, they've bought into it.
Yeah.
You bought into it. I bought into it. Our fans have bought into it. Reinsdorf's bought into it. Kenny Williams has bought into it. Rick's bought into it. Everybody knows what we're trying to do here, and that everybody knows we're on the right track. Everybody knows in a couple of 3 years, I think it might be 3, but a couple of 3 years, this team is going to get a chance to be a monster. Two balls, 2 strikes. Outfield straight up, spread out about equidistant. And a full count. Yeah, Nicky does not give an inch up there against the left-handers.
Well, it's pretty interesting because I talked with Tim Neverett, who is, along with Joe Castiglione, the 2 radio voices of the Red Sox. Joe's been here a long time, and Tim just been added.
35 years.
Came over from Pittsburgh, so his son, Tim's son, broadcasting in AA, and he was talking about the guys at Birmingham, the young guys at Birmingham that are in the system, knowing exactly what's happening with the Major League team and the entire organization and which direction everyone in the organization is going. And there is Tim on the right, Joe Castiglione on the left, and Roger Clemens in the middle. Roger you probably recognized, and that was Tim and Joe.
Count hangs full at 3-2. Nicky just turned 25 years old, so he's put himself right in the mix. There's no question about that. And that's why we talk so much about baseball. It's a day-to-day game. It always has been and it always will be. You can put yourself in the mix in a series. It doesn't take a week or a month. Good play by Pomeranz.
Well, one of the things that is of critical importance is understanding when you come into the organization, the direction the organization is going in, but also the tendencies of that organization. And for all the young players or people who are anticipating maybe signing a contract and maybe have the White Sox in the mix, understand that they bring young players to the major leagues and have consistently. So if you're getting here, you're not going to be buried in the minor leagues. If you show anything, you get a chance. And what you were saying is you get, well, you take Delmonico, for instance. He got his opportunity to show what he can do. Some guys never get that opportunity. And Nicky never had the opportunity before, but he had it here. It doesn't matter. You come up, even if it's for a couple days. You come up and you have the ability to show what you can do. And there is Rick Hahn. He said from the beginning, to his credit, when this team got off to the great start, he said, hey, nothing has changed. We have a stated purpose of what we're going to do. We're not deviating from that path. And, of course, he didn't. He hasn't.
Well, enough cannot be said about Kenny Williams when he was the GM. And one of the strong points of Kenny Williams was the first thing was he wanted people of character coming into this ball club. And among his other strong points, Kenny had a knack for building good bullpens. He always built good bullpens.
Which, if you don't, you're not going to win.
Exactly.
It's as simple as
and
that.
if you do, you've got a chance to win.
Yeah.
There's a strike. And Kenny and I have talked a lot over the years about players. He's a very, very strong talent evaluator. And he's a very, very strong character evaluator. And he has turned down some guys who later on certainly it was borne out you didn't want them on your ball club.
White Sox game. So if you're on the go and want to watch the game, head to csnchicago.com or download the NBC Sports app presented by State Farm.
2-1 ball game.
Chris Young doesn't usually play against the right-handed starters. He's getting a start tonight. The one thing he does do is crush low fastballs, especially middle in. Anything else he'll have some problems with, but he's looking at a right-hander to start the ball game for one of the few times this year.
Well, he got a low fastball last night to drive in their first run.
Yes, he did.
He got the shift on as there's first pitch strike.
Carlos Rodon was just brilliant. If you missed the ball game last night, he went 7 2/3, gave up a couple of runs on 6 hits, 0 walks, and 11 strikeouts.
He was awesome.
Yep, it was a wonderfully dominating performance. Got a no D out of it. However, it doesn't diminish that he went up against a very good ball club in a tough place to pitch, and he just handcuffed them.
He just ate them up.
Yep.
No, he was awesome, which he is, as we talked about last. There's not a young left-hander starter in baseball. With better stuff than Carlos Rodon.
Well, there's one guy that broadcasts for the other group, a former Red Sox player. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him, but his name is Dennis Eckersley. And I talked to Dennis. He came up to me actually and said, "Wow, does that guy have great stuff?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I told you before the game how good the stuff was." He said, "Yeah, you told me, but then looking at it," he says, "you can't hit that slider." I said, "Nope, very few guys do if he gets ahead." He said he just liked the way it exploded off his hands. Eck knows a great deal about pitching and a great deal about this game of baseball and is a Hall of Famer. I certainly respect what he has to say. The only one who doesn't probably is David Price.
You know, well, Eck in 1978 was 20-8 in this ballpark, pitching in this ballpark. Then all of a sudden, later on, a few years later, he goes to be a reliever. And I can tell you, in my career and all the years in this game, nobody has had as good a control as Dennis Eckersley.
When he was a reliever, he would walk 3 or 4 guys a year.
And a couple of them, he was going around.
No, he was a terrific pitcher, and you won't find guys. John Smoltz was one of those guys. I mean, John Smoltz was a great one also. One of those guys that was a dominating starting pitcher who moved to the bullpen and dominated people out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he was a Hall of Famer as a starter and as a reliever. And he's never changed. Eck has never changed. He has never lost his childlike qualities.
Yeah, well, he had a great career. He's an excellent broadcaster. They love him here in Boston, and why wouldn't they? They also loved him in Cleveland, where he was very good, and they love him in Oakland, where that part of his career sent him to the Hall of Fame.
One and two the count to Mitch Moreland. Last night's villain with an opposite field home run.
It was the left foot of Moreland, the one that's his plant foot. That's the one that was giving him all kinds of problems after fouling a ball off it, and he couldn't hit for a while. He struggled. But when he started this series and we saw him take a couple of shots to left and left center field, that's when he's feeling great, because as a dead pull hitter, which he's been, using the opposite field, you can take fastballs away and take them that way in this ballpark. Easy to hit it out.
In the left center field, off the wall. Picks up his 24th two-bagger.
He's really one of the keys to this team because they have so many good right-hand hitters. Along with Benintendi, they needed some guys from the left side to get it done. And Moreland, when he's right, can get it done. He's a terrific defender at first base, and now that he's using left and left center field, he's starting to crush the baseball. And if he hits it, they're going to be able to hold off the Yankees because their bullpen, with the addition of Joe Kelly, who's another 100-mile-an-hour guy, they just inserted him in their pen. That bullpen can probably take over games with no problem in the 6th inning and carry it all the way through.
They can cover him.
And
the last 4.
Yeah, there's Joe Kelly, who's got just a great arm, and now he's entirely healthy.
So here's Christian Vasquez, the catcher. 3 for 8 in the series.
His contribution in this series, and has been all year for him, is his defense. He's a great thrower. We saw it both on a pickoff and we saw it on an attempted steal. He gets it, unloads it quickly, and he's very accurate.
Leary short out there and right. Right where he should be. Vasquez. As that's into the seats. And the count 0-2.
We will know definitively tomorrow if Sandy Leon, the backup catcher, is entirely healthy, because normally he would play day game after a night game. Vasquez getting a lot of work these days.
That's into left field. Nicky playing it right, putting out that hand, feeling his way back to the green monster. And a reminder, Modelo invites you to head to your favorite store and grab some cold Modelo Especial beer. Perfect to enjoy while watching our Sox this summer. And while there, enter for your chance to win tickets to a September White Sox game. No purchase necessary. Legal residents of Illinois, 21 and up. Void where prohibited, and it ends. This offer ends August 27th.
Drops a slow hook on the first pitch, which is a good pitch for a guy who's very aggressive early in the count, as Jackie Bradley has been and continues to be.
Jackie 2 for 8 in the series. Well, they've got 5 left-handed hitters in there tonight. But as we had talked about last evening and mentioned it tonight, I don't care if you had 7 in there. They're not going to take Big Papi's place.
Nope. Now, not what he meant to this ball club. And you get a guy stands right on top of the plate, doesn't mind hitting against left-hand pitchers, and contributes like Big Papi. He's tough to replace.
Jerry Lane, crew chief. Jerry was near perfect in that first game behind the plate. As usual. One of the best. Count hangs at 2-2 with 2 out. They're at the bottom of the second if you're just tuning in. 2-2-0 for them. 1-2-1 for us. We had our leadoff homer by Tim Anderson in a very deep, high corner and almost straightaway center field. A little bit high. And a full count with Mookie Betts on deck. That ball hit deep. And it is 4-1.
James has been in a situation, especially this year, we've seen it. You go through streaks where when you make a mistake, you go through streaks where you make a mistake, nobody hits it. James is in a streak where when he makes a mistake, and this is a high cutter, a Ford home run replay, every mistake he makes these days goes out of the ballpark.
Well, they're not popping it up and grounding it
they're
out.
hitting it right on the screws, and Bradley with his 13th. He's now driven in 43, and it's now a 4-1 game.
Here's Mookie. He just missed one his first at bat. High into left field.
What you saw right there was very unusual because Mookie Betts swings at the first pitch just a little over 11% of the time. He's one of the few guys that doesn't like the first pitch very much. Over that time, he figured maybe he'll get a pitcher distracted, giving up the home run, so he went after it. Did you like the first pitch?
If it was fastball.
Yeah, first ball fastball. Good.
I like the fastball up and in. That was my wheelhouse. But another 2-run homer, and now they lead it 4-1.
Look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And there's a look at the bullpen and a cast of characters who happen to be starting. We know because I can see Tyler Saladino right there.
And by the way, Derek Holland was in the bullpen last night, and he is also in the bullpen tonight.
Well, Mike Pelfrey has done it, and it really hasn't bothered him a great deal. I mean, between starts, you have a throw day. A lot of people feel that if you're going to go in for a couple of hitters, it doesn't disrupt you all that much.
That's foul back to our left. Tim is the reason we're on the board. A leadoff home run, a long one. His 10th of the season.
Here's a look at a former #1 draft pick of the Cleveland Indians. Very highly thought of.
Little flare into short center field. Brock Holt is back.
Pomeranz was the 5th player chosen in the Indians' first-round pick.
So here's Tim. And if you miss that home run, poof.
Second pitch of the ball game, and he got one probably just off the outside corner. He hit the daylights out of that. Hit the light standard and 1-0 game at the time.
One and two. Third of this 4-game set. Tomorrow, Mike Pelfrey against Doug Fister, a couple of tall right-handers.
Pomerantz originally got to the major leagues with Colorado in 2011. Was with Oakland in 15, San Diego, and Boston last year.
2 down. Second strikeout. Pomerantz. And here's Tyler. He bounced out 1-3.
Last year, the Red Sox got Pomerantz from San Diego. Anderson Espinoza. And last year was the first year that he ever won in double figures. He won 11 games combined between San Diego and the Red Sox. He will fly by that this year. This is his best year by far. And like so many young left-handers, it came to him a little later.
And it's booted by Nunez, so it'll be E6.
It was set to be a very quick 1-2-3 inning, but this ball stays down and eats up Nunez, so the inning continues.
And here's Abreu. That fastball at 91. Now he's got the catbird seat. 4-3-1 for them, 1-2-1 for us, if you're just joining us.
Sizable lead at first base by Tyler. He doesn't figure to be running. Combination of Vasquez behind the plate and a left-hander on the mound.
And Abreu at the plate.
Yeah, you won't take
with a 2-0 count.
You don't want to take the bat out of his hands.
And now 3-1. Good lead. And it's full. This is where I hope Abreu, somebody will talk to him. Trick, Todd Steverson, our hitting coach, and get him to take his walks, because of the fact when he starts trying to do too much, because we're trailing by 3 runs and we're losing some ball games. That's the only time the big hurt Frank Thomas ever got in problems, when he took himself out of his zone trying to do too much. And there's a base hit, bouncer through the hole.
Well, all these pitches to Abreu and all of the pitches coming to Kevin Smith would not
courtesy
have been,
of the arrow.
They wouldn't have been made except for the error. So it might not come back to haunt him this inning, but you never know with the amount of pitches he's having to use to get out where it will throw itself up. Errors you can't help. You have to pitch over them. The really good pitchers who have the ultimate in concentration, you can take a look at their unearned runs. And there's a very small differential between the runs and the unearned runs. But other guys who lose the concentration or get upset by a physical error, you'll see a lot of unearned runs scored in his column.
Kevin took that pitch nicely. He struck out swinging to end the first inning. Yeah, that's errors today are more magnified than they've ever been.
Extra pitches early don't make for long outings.
Well, there's not Mark Burley's. When a guy would make an error, especially in a big spot in the ball game, say it was at third base, he'd walk over to his third baseman and say, "Don't worry about it, I'll bail you out." You don't have that too much anymore.
No. That hit him.
That hit him. I got the bat.
Well, Mike Estabrook is saying that it hit the bat.
Meanwhile, it's a 1-1 count.
Looked like it might have hit the knob of the bat from that angle. I'm sure it got part of his hand.
Well, if it did, he wouldn't be in there right now.
That's exactly, yeah. I mean, I know he felt it, but if it hit him right on the fingers, that's usually a break.
Good rip by Kev, and the count 1-2.
Last time up, he had Kevin well out in front of that knuckle curveball that he throws. Over 50% of Kevin's hits have come to right and right center field.
That's in right field. That's a can of corn. And that'll retire the side. We go to the bottom of the third. 4-1 Red Sox.
We move around the major leagues, and it's a knuckleball, long gone. Look at the exit velocity, 115.5 miles per hour. Launch angle at only 25 degrees, didn't have a chance to get up too high, but projected distance at 477 for the big man with the Miami Marlins, Giancarlo Stanton. And he can hit them a long way, and they get out very quickly.
And another case of a bad contract.
Boy, that one, I mean, you're talking it goes way out in the future.
Well, what invariably happens when you sign a guy to a what do you sign, $325 million?
Yeah, you're very happy with the first, in the case of him, you're very happy with the first 5 or 6 years and maybe not so happy down the road.
Well,
and then you can't move him unless you want to eat money, because that's what everybody looks at.
When did he sign it? 2 years ago?
Yeah. And a lot of it's backloaded. There's a lot of money down the road.
And they were trying to move him?
Well, yeah.
Last month?
Good luck with that.
That's what I'm saying. Another bad sign.
I would say he's probably got a good chance to make it through waivers also.
No question.
In fact, there's a whole lot of people that
he's a great talent.
Get through waivers. He's a great talent.
But I mean, it's crazy. Invariably, is there a nice pick, make a good feed? He does. Good play. I am so proud of Abreu for the way he's played for the last 2 months defensively after a very horrendous first month and a half.
Well, he realized a couple of different things, and one of them was that he had some problems going toward the line, which he worked on. This is a good play, and there's something on that toss. It's a long underhand toss, so you have to make it firm. You want to show it to the pitcher, which he did, and then let him write his own footwork. And Jose explaining how he did it to Ruben Amaro Jr., the former general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, who now is the first base coach of these Red Sox.
Well, he's getting in position to get his fanny down. Before, he couldn't get it down because he wasn't getting in position to get it down. As here is the man who hit that 2-run homer in the first inning, Andrew Benintendi. But you cannot, unless you get in position, you just can't get your fanny down. You got to get in position, and now you can get it down. You got to spread out a little bit, and that's what he's doing now. He is 100% better than he was the first month and a half.
There's no doubt about that. What he also does now with Yoan at second base, because that's going to be the right side for quite some time, and you have to say, of course, barring injury, but you would expect they'd be on the right side of this infield for a long time. And so Jose knows that Yoan has great range to both sides. So he's going to look at where he is, and then he's going to know how far he can stray off the bag. Early in his career, he'd move off the bag too far, making it very difficult for the pitcher to get there.
That's trouble.
It was a trap.
Good effort by Nicky. A little Kansas City special by Benintendi.
Nice job on the umpire rotation, because Jerry Lane has to go out there. He's got to take a look and see if Nicky can make this play. When he goes there, there's a chance there's a play at second base, and so Marvin Hudson, the third base umpire, rotates to second base. They did it very well. Good coordination as Jerry goes out. He turns, and as soon as he does that, you see Marvin Hudson left of your screen. He's sprinting to second in case there's a call. Good umpire rotation. They were all in position to do what they had to do.
Here's Nunez. Eduardo went out to left field. Yeah, very, very seldom do you ever see. Just look at Zach Greinke's contract.
210.
They were trying to move him just several months after they signed him.
Yep. But now with the Diamondbacks knocking at the door. Now they're in second place. Granted, they can barely see the Dodgers. The Dodgers won today, by the way, 7-4. They're 78 and 32. 78 and 32. They're playing over 700 baseball. They've won 10 of their last 11 and 3 in a row. It's been an unbelievable year. But the Diamondbacks are right there, and they're not moving Greinke now.
Good effort by Kevin Smith, having to throw from his knees with a good jump right there by Benintendi. He picks up his 11th stolen base in 14 attempts.
This is a terrific throw by Kevin. He drops to a knee and gets it there. Good pick by Yoan on the other end, but not in time.
Made a good pass at that one, did Nunez. So 2-2 the count.
Nunez was having a good solid year with San Francisco. Boston won the bidding war. There were a lot of teams very interested in the all-purpose player. And after hitting .308 with the Giants, he's come here hitting .469 in this just his 8th game with Boston.
He go. 2 down. And a reminder, join us on Saturday, August 12th, as our Sox take on the Kansas City Royals at 6:10. And the first 15,000 in attendance will receive a specially designed cap that brings the Sox and the iconic Chicago flag together. So visit WhiteSox.com to get your tickets today. First pitch strike to Rafael Devers, 20 years old. Called out on strikes his first at bat.
You got first base open, and you've got Chris Young, the right-hander, a strikeout victim last time up. He's in the on-deck circle. You got to be careful with Devers.
Ball hit sharply, knocked down, like played it perfectly. Had a chance to take a bad hop. It did, but he took it off the chest, kept it in control, and that'll retire the side.
CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
We need some runs. We trail it 4-1. We scored first inning. Leadoff homer by Tim Anderson, if you're just tuning in. They came right back with 2-run homer in the first, bottom of the first, and another 2-run homer in the bottom of the second. So here's Liuri. Grounded out to Nunez at short. Pitch is way off the plate, taken for a strike. And why not? There's that changeup. Thought he was going right back out there again.
Well, he's probably going to use that here or the next pitch if it gets to that. Didn't wipe him out with that knuckle curveball. Red Sox believe this year that Pomeranz is their second best pitcher behind Chris Sale. And Drew likes the knuckle curveball. It's a very good pitch for him. He changes speeds with it. More times than not, he's going to throw a strike.
Third strikeout.
That's a good one.
Well, you're talking about the Dodgers. Last 50 games.
They've struggled, haven't they?
Yeah, they lost 7.
Well, there you go. I thought they were better than that.
43-7 in the last 50, which is the best 50-game stretch in Major League Baseball since 1912.
It's absolutely amazing. And that's without Clayton Kershaw. He's on the DL. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
(43-7).
A lot of terrific young players. Some very good established players.
And it looks like they've got Puig on the right track.
Yeah, he was pretty good against us.
I was watching MLB. I think it was last night, and Puig was on there with Eric Burns and Harrell, and they were talking to him about a lot of things. There's 2 down, and the young man seems to have it under control. Hopefully, because that talent he's got is just phenomenal.
Well, a lot of people don't realize this, but Puig is a very smart guy.
Very smart.
He was a very smart guy who was immature when he came up. He came up very young, very immature, and starting now to understand what it's going to take for him to excel.
His parents are both teachers. A good friend of mine, well, let me reframe that. A good acquaintance of mine who was a producer, one of the producers for Dodger baseball, told me that Puig was walking by him one day, and he had his watch off, and he was trying to reset it or something because it was broken. It wasn't working right. Puig said, "What's wrong?" He said, "My watch is not working." He said, "Let me see it." He said Puig took the back of the watch off. He said, "You got a pencil or a pen?" The guy gave him a pen. He started messing around with it, put the back on, gave it back to him. It worked perfect.
Not well, you know, look, sometimes you need a secondary job if the baseball thing doesn't work out.
Watchmaker.
Yeah. Now he's got off the chart skills in every aspect of the game.
Come on, Nicky. Nicky went out 1-3 his first at bat. Good at bat. He's giving us some good at bats. That's the first walk. And as he goes down to first base, a reminder, our 2017 White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rates. So team up with your hometown lender for low mortgage rates and a fast, easy process. A fast, easy process. So get started now at rate.com. Here's Adam. He popped up to Brock Holt in short right field. And there's a base hit. That a boy. Adam.
First ball fastball. When you have a guy that has as good a curveball as Pomeranz has, especially a young hitter, when you see a first ball fastball, you should be jumping on that, and Adam did.
And it doesn't have to be a wheelhouse fastball. It's just something straight. I don't care if it's towards the outside corner, towards the inside corner. You want to stay away from that curveball. Because if he gets it anywhere near where he wants to, you're not going to do anything with it anyway.
It's been a very sharp breaker tonight, and he's used it well. He likes that particular pitch, and he will use it a great deal.
So here's Alan Hansen. Alan also popped up to Brock Holt. 2 out, 2 on. We trail it by 3 here in the top of the 4th. Got to try, as a hitter, you got to try to eliminate one pitch from his repertoire. And with him, the one pitch you'd like to eliminate is that curveball. If he gets 3 over, first time up, nobody on, grab some bench, because you're not going to do anything anyway with it. That curveball at 81.
Yeah, he'll throw at different speeds, but more times than not, the right-hand hitter especially is going to swing over the top of that curveball because it's late breaking and it's digging.
The 0-2 pitch. And time is called.
Well, I don't know if he's going to go back to it, but Vasquez called for a fastball. And after making him look bad on a couple of curves, Allen would probably like a fastball.
And he's more apt to chase one that's up out of the zone, can't get there. Good job by Vasquez keeping it in front of him.
So after the timeout was called, he went to the curveball. Vasquez does a very nice job. Able to kick it out in front of him. So the runners can't advance.
The 1-2 pitch. And we'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It is still 4-1 Bat Guys.
chance to splash into summer. You get a chance to win your very own Yamaha Wave Runner. Plus, win a free entry to this September's Aquacross race on Lake Michigan. Enter for your chance to win at csnchicago.com/P1Chicago today.
And that gentleman you're looking right there is a former teammate of mine, Cy Young Award winner in 1967, Jim Lonborg. Gentleman Jim, they call him. That's like calling Wilt Chamberlain having a nickname of Tiny.
Jim wasn't that much of a gentleman?
Oh, no.
A little nasty in him, did he?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Well, that he just, it's the most I have. I'm not talking about Don Drysdale in the National League. 1967 is the most I have ever seen a pitcher intimidate for a season in the American League. And that covers
a lot of pitchers.
Well, about 57 years. He intimidated the American League hitters in 1967. And that's going foul. Chris Young struck out on a curveball his first trip. Yeah, Jim was that year. That was the birth of the Red Sox nation, 1967. That was the renaissance of Red Sox baseball in New England. Yastrzemski, Lonborg, Reggie Smith finished second and Rookie of the Year that year to Rod Carew.
James dropped down from the side, thought he could thread the needle on the outside corner, and just missed. Probably a few inches outside.
And that's going foul. Full count. Yeah, that year Jim Lonborg threw 273 in the third innings. He was 22 and 9.
273 in the third.
He gone. One out. He completed 15 games that year.
I don't think we'll see 273 anytime soon. James threads the needle on the outside corner. Mike Estabrook thought it was just dandy.
One of the interesting things about Lonborg was at the age of 37, he later went on in the National League, played with Philadelphia. In fact, he played with Ed Farmer over there with the Phillies. But anyway, at the age of 37, he went to Tufts Dental School, became a dentist, and just 5 weeks ago retired.
He spent a lot of time not only going to school to get the degree, which he obviously desired greatly, but then in practice.
Yeah. That's just flipped into left field. Nicky is there. And the Mayor Mean Joe Goop tells us he had in his career 90 complete games.
You can take whole teams and move from now 10 years down the road, and you won't find that whole team completing 90 games.
No.
Let alone one guy completing 90 games.
No. That's just like when Johan Santana was with Minnesota. And he took himself out after 8 shutout innings. And Bert Blyleven, the Dutchman, went to him after the game and says, Johan, You didn't want to get the shutout? He said, well, shutouts are hard to come by. Did you ever have any? Burton said 60. And that was a nice inning right there. Shields needed it.
Knights are back in action tomorrow at CSN Plus as they face the Gwinnett Braves. Coverage begins at 4 or stream the game on the NBC Sports app and at csnchicago.com/watch live. I
am so proud of CSN Plus, the way they've been covering our minor league situation. And it goes hand in hand with what the plan of the organization is. Promote our young players, let our fans have a chance to see them. Love having a chance to see them at the minor league level grow. And then when they come up, they're familiar with a little bit.
Well, there's some exciting young players at every level of the Fox organization these days.
Well, you know, and they're all in North Carolina. In fact, you know, when I was the GM in '86, I moved our D-ball club from, what's they call it, low A now, from Appleton, Wisconsin to South Bend. Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. He's got to do this more and more and more. If he just does that 15 times a year, that's 30 points.
Well, if he's going to do that against left-handers and push it by the left-hand pitcher, which is not difficult to do because they fall off to the third base side, he's going to put that 235, 236 batting average is going to get up to 260, 270 in a hurry.
Yeah.
But and he's got the speed and he has the ability to do it. He just has to think about it, take a look at where they're lining up on the corners, and if they're back at all, make the bunt.
He's got the ability to do everything he wants to do on a baseball field. Now, is he a work in progress defensively? Yes, he is. He's got to improve on that. His technique is not good. He's going to have to improve on it, but he's got tons of talent. But, you know, I moved it from Appleton to South Bend, so it would be, you know, our fan base would expand.
Yep.
Well, later on, I was talking with Jerry Reinsdorf about this not too long ago. And I said, Jerry, I got to ask you a question. It's been on my mind. I said, who in the world moved that South Bend club out of there down to Kannapolis? Who was that joker? He goes, me.
That was good.
And all of a sudden he gave me his reasoning, and after he gave me his reasoning, as usual, he was right, because he wanted our farm clubs all to be in North Carolina so our scouts could scout our farm system, which is paramount, and they wouldn't have to travel all across the country to be doing it. They could just go from town to town to town. Kannapolis, Winston-Salem, and Charlotte, which made a lot of sense. I didn't say Joker. I said, who was that idiot? Did he say me? Pops it up. Saladino now 0 for 3.
That was a good fastball. He got it in on his hands and couldn't do anything with it.
So here's Abreu. 1 for 2. Had a 3rd inning single on the hole between short and third. Takes it. 0-1 the count.
You can get a pretty good lead against Pomerantz because he does not have a great move to first base.
Four, 4-1 for them. 1, 5-1 for us. If you're just joining us. Uh-oh. Rack 'em up. We're halfway home, trailing by 3. Chuck, you're awesome, buddy. You and Carlos Rodon. I told you, you got to play golf with our Chuck one day.
I'd be more than happy.
He can absolutely play.
You know, it's hard to get him out of the studio because he very rarely.
Well, we got to talk
with
with Junior about that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, they're working that poor man to death. He worked like, I don't know, 12 hours last week.
You know, there's such a thing as OSHA.
Yeah.
There's strike one to Bradley. Hit a 2-run homer. way back in right field in the seats. And if you missed it, poof.
His 13th home run was not a cheapie. And it was a slider. James tried to backdoor it, but it caught too much of the plate and gone.
Get foul. It will. Right size, wrong shape.
You got a hold of that one. Fortunately, got out a little too quickly, and it hooked in front of the pole.
I'll tell you, these guys are young and talented. Now, they're not as young and talented as the Cubs, but they're young and talented. And a couple years from now, they're not going to be as young and talented as our Sox. He gone. 5 strikeouts now.
This was exactly what James had in mind the at bat before. This time he shaved off the outside corner and got the called third. Xander Bogaerts getting the night off because he needed a break. He was not swinging the bat very well, so not injured, just a little bit of time away from the game.
That ball hit well off the wall. There's the throw. So the double by Mookie Betts. That's his 32nd double.
Left fielders can play a lot more shallow in this park than any other park in baseball because if it goes over your head, it's going to go off the wall or out of the park. You got to get in position to make a good play on the carom, and you can't really judge where that carom is going to go because of the oddity of that scoreboard. But Nicky did a nice job here. He got the ball in as quickly as he could. Betts is just too fast, and so you couldn't get him at second. But this is a good play by Delmonico in left.
So here is Rock Holt. Reached on an arrow, scored, and he also went out 3-1.
Nicky right now probably is a little too deep in left field for Holt. Because again, that's the advantage. That's one of the big advantages for a left fielder you got in this park is because of that wall, you can play in a little more shallow.
Well, I'm going to show you the difference here. Now, let's, as Ken Golashahi, our producer, see that little bright spot to his left, right? That's where normal guys play. See where he's playing?
He's in back of that.
The best left fielder I've ever seen to this day was Carl Yastrzemski. He played from where Delmonico is standing right now. You could come in another easy 50 to 60 feet, and that's where Yastrzemski played.
And how many, again, when you go over your head, just get in position to play the carom.
That's it.
But you take away any looper to left field.
He has stole more base hits from guys into left field than any outfielder I've ever seen.
Now Nicky has moved just about parallel, maybe a step in front of that worn out spot.
One out, 1-1 to count. And to count 1-2. Big, huge gap out there in right center. I mean, really big.
Betts is a good base stealer and a good base runner. They don't necessarily go hand in hand, but he swiped 17 but caught only 3 times.
That's just one heck of a player.
Yeah, there's really nothing that he can't do.
24 years old.
Gold glove caliber outfielder. Great speed and surprising power.
37 doubles, 18 homers, 69 RBIs.
Leading their team. He's probably the only guy on this ball club with a shot to get to 100 this year.
James doing the right thing. Give him that long look. That's all right. That hold back out, call time.
Especially with one out, it's essential that he stays at second.
Yes, it is. That's why he's doing the right thing. He gone. The old changeup.
Put this one in a perfect spot. Holt swings over the top. He's well out in front of it. And he goes down swinging.
Well, when James was in his heyday, he had the best right-handed power changeup of a right-hander.
Those days he could tell you that it's coming and throw you three and you still couldn't hit it. You
Exactly.
couldn't wait back
That's the
long
power.
enough.
That's what they call a power changeup.
And they're going to put Benintendi at first base.
That's the first walk issued by James. Yeah, Steve just hit it right on the head. He could just tell you, change up, throw it, yeah, strike one. Nunez has gone out to the left and he has struck out. For the psyche of this ball game, this is a big out. That game last night, if you missed, that was just a good baseball game. Well pitched, well played, both sides.
Some great opportunities for both sides. The Sox had first and second nobody out twice in the 9th and the 11th. Came away empty both times, and Mitch Moreland ended it. It was one of those games you didn't give away, one of those games where you just got beat.
That's it. Those games don't bother you too much. The ones that bother you will eat you alive are the ones when you beat yourself. And unfortunately, early on this year, we did that an awful lot. Even though we were winning some ball games, the ones we lost, we beat ourselves. But that's going to get fewer and fewer and fewer. That's why when I said the other night, I got a couple of texts from a couple of buddies of mine and said, Hawk, what do you mean you teach guys how to lose? But they didn't add the word that I ended it with. You teach guys how to lose correctly. If you teach guys how to lose correctly, like that Oakland club that won 5 consecutive divisional titles and 3 consecutive world championships, if you teach them how to lose correctly, which they did, you're going to win more than you lose. Three and one. It's 3-2.
Nunez, who had 4 hits in the series tonight, he's not swinging it well. He's not seeing it well from James. So hopefully he can get him out. Leave Devers in the on-deck circle to lead off next inning.
There they go. Pops him up. Now Adam taking charge as he should, makes the catch. And that'll end the 5th, but we still trail it 4-1. On Saturday, August 26th, the Sox take on the Tigers at 6:10. Now the first 15,000 in attendance will take home a White Sox Stormtrooper bobblehead. Plus, stick around for a post-game fireworks show presented by all the great folks at Magellan Corporation. So get your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. You know, you can do the math on that winning and losing. Everybody tries to teach kids how to win, when in reality there are more games that are lost than are won.
Normally, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a known factor, a constant. That's how to play. So if you teach them how to play good, solid, fundamental baseball, you're always going to make physical errors, as you alluded to earlier. You're always going to make physical errors, but you don't want to make mental errors. You don't want to overthrow the cutoff man. You want to throw the right base. You want to run the bases. You don't want to get doubled up on line drives. You want to don't get tagged by the second baseman on a potential double play. All those little things, if you learn how to do those things, you're going to win more games than you lose, because you're not going to beat yourself as much.
Well, what Ricky is doing is he's sinking a foundation. You can't build a building in a day, but if you have a good foundation, your building is going to be a strong building, and that's what Ricky and the coaches and everybody associated with this ball club is trying to do, is build that sound foundation.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, and they're doing it. So Kevin is gone. Hit that ball hard, but 1 out. Ricky is very much in tune with fundamental baseball and what he is calling, and I love it. To all the players down in the minor leagues now, and all the players, the young players at the big league level, White Sox baseball.
That's what he impressed upon them very early, and how he wants this team to go about their business, and it's not always going to be successful, especially in the early stages of development, which is what's happening here. But that man and his coaching staff worked very hard to get an idea how they wanted to get this team playing on a daily and nightly basis. And then if you lose, you throw out the end result. You throw out the end result, you look at the process of how we got here. You look at the process, you figure out how you got there, you throw out the end result, because after the fact it's meaningless, and figure out how you got in that position, and then don't repeat the mistakes that you made.
One out, 1-2 the count. Two down.
The curveball tonight has been good. His cutter has been good. He hasn't used it a lot. Hasn't used a straight change very much, but Pomerantz's been able to move the ball around, changing speeds, and getting that curveball as his wipeout pitch. It's been really good.
There you see that knuckle up there.
It's a little harder breaking ball than he normally throws, but very effective.
So here's Yohan, an infield single and a strikeout. Well, it's easy to see Pomeranz, if he's obviously been pitching like this all season, why he's 10-4 with a 346.
Yeah, he's been very good. But sometimes it takes you a while. In his case, he played with some teams that were okay teams, not really good teams, but okay. And unless you're a dominant starting pitcher, you're going to play. Let's say your team plays 500 baseball. If you're a good pitcher, you're going to pitch 550 baseball. Very few guys can dominate other teams for a bad team. It's very difficult to do that. The greatest example was Steve Carlton, 1972. He went 27-10 for a team that won 59 games. If you got the Phillies in those days, if you didn't get Carlton, they were easy to beat. If you got Carlton, well, he beat you.
Well, Vasquez knew he had to hurry. He did hurry, and he got him. And that'll retire the side. That's 7 strikeouts now for Pomeranz.
And it's one of the guys doing quite a job, and that is Ronaldo Lopez over from the Nationals. He's 6-6, his ERA, 3.65. He's made 21 starts, thrown 116 innings. You see 122 strikeouts. The guys primarily that we got back in trades, almost without exception, have overwhelming stuff, and Lopez is one of those guys.
So here is Rafael Devers. Good looking young 20-year-old. He's 0 for 3 now.
They were worried about his defense at third base, what we've seen in this series. They worried needlessly because the one thing it's tough to teach, and you can teach a lot to defenders, but the one thing it's tough to teach is good hands. You have good hands or you don't have good hands. You can get yourself in a better position, but the hands itself are very difficult to teach. Devers has good hands. We saw it on a bad hop earlier in this game, and that's going to hold him in good stead. He's going to be a terrific defender, and the rest of his game is very good.
So here's Chris Young. 0 for 2, a couple strikeouts.
Meantime, James had a tough couple of innings. First and second, he gave up 2-run homers in the first and second. Since then, he's thrown it pretty well.
Well, he's retired 9 of the last 12.
And he kept his team in the game.
Two down.
I like the fact that James is working pretty quickly here tonight.
Well,
so it worked for Rodon last night.
Carlos, if you missed that game last night, was a pup out of Mark Burley. Only with a little better stuff.
Yep. He got it. He threw it. And didn't walk anybody to go with 11 strikeouts.
And didn't shake any signs off.
Nope.
Moreland has doubled and scored, and he's gone out deep to left. Curveball.
Moreland's best year was 2015 with the Texas Rangers, who brought him to the major leagues in 2010. But he had 278, 23 home runs, drove in 85. The Red Sox were looking for more of the same, but hasn't worked out great to this point. Now that the foot is entirely healed and healthy, he'll start swinging it well.
Well, he's a player. This Moreland is a good major league player.
He's a very good defender. Last year, in 147 games, he made 2 errors for Texas. That's
well, he's not as good as Hosmer, but he's a good player. He's a good first baseman.
He is.
Right to our good first baseman, Abreu, and that's a nice 1-2-3 inning. We're into the 7th. We need 3 to tie. Ends on August 24th at 7:10. Now it's free T-shirt Thursday, and first 10,000 fans will receive a Dick Allen retro T-shirt presented by the Village of Bedford Park. So bring your business home, Bedford Park, and win big. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. Richie is a dear friend of mine. He is a terrific person, and what a player. Wow. What a player Dick Allen was. So here we go. Delmonico. Engel and Hansen.
Red Sox bullpen up and going, so.
Base hit. That a boy. So George Jacobs picks to Click. Now 1 for 2.
That one just barely getting by Moreland, and good start to the 7th as he takes this ball on the outer third and hits it hard enough to get it by a very good first baseman.
There was also Ed Cassin's pick to Click. Ed Cassin, our director of travel for the White Sox. The job he does, he takes care of about 50 people every trip.
Yeah, taking care would be one description. Babysitting at times would be another description of what a traveling secretary has to do.
He's something.
He is truly a jack of all trades because he's very versatile.
Well, I've been with a lot of them. He's the best I've ever seen. Watch out. And have you ever just sat down and talked baseball with him? I want to tell you something. He absolutely knows the game of baseball.
He's been around it seemingly forever.
For his whole life.
Yep. That is one of the most difficult jobs in all of baseball.
It might be the most.
Director
outside of the general manager.
Of travel. Wow.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Eddie though, he can handle it. He can handle it. First and third. Adam.
Chris Beck loosening up in the pen. If that is going to be it for James, and we don't know yet, he will have started out not throwing the ball the way he wanted to, but ended with 4 pretty solid innings to get his team into the 7th, still in the game.
Yes, he did. Unfortunately, 1 out. 8 strikeouts now.
That biting knuckle curve has served Pomerantz well tonight, and here's another example of it. For him, it serves the same purpose as for Carlos Rodon and that hard slider. They both love to bury it down and into the right-hand hitters, and because the rotation is so quick, you can't read it. So guys, when they start their swing, they don't check it up very often.
Good rip by Allen. Allen has popped to second and struck out. Last time got him on a high fastball. There's a base hit. Wow. All right, tying run's going to come to the plate. And a tying run coming to the plate is a man who led off the game with a home run.
And that's why John Farrell is taking that walk to the mound, which will usually signify that the night is done for Drew Pomerantz.
He pitched well.
He threw very well, and he will get a great round of applause from a very appreciative crowd. We'll step out as he walks out. We'll be back. With the White Sox Flex Pass. Purchase 10 lower level tickets for $200 or 10 upper level tickets for $70. Have the flexibility to redeem tickets to an upcoming game right from your phone. For more information or to purchase your pass, visit whitesox.com/FlexPass. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Blaine Boyer on for the 22nd time. 1-1, 3.42 ERA. He's been around a long time, drafted in the 3rd round of the 2000 draft by the Braves.
Tim with his 10th homer leading off the ball game. He also had that beautiful bunt single. I'm more thrilled about that than I am the home run.
You know he's going to be able to hit home runs if he can refine those bunts.
Especially with men on second, third, nobody out.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a left-handed pitcher going. 0-2. Outfield shading him to the right. Nice little gap out there in left center if he can find it. If he can find it with Hansen's speed. Put 2 on the board. And there is a shot into right field, caught as he's playing in perfectly, and they're going to double him up. Oh boy, that's where you don't know where your outfielders are. Meanwhile, 7th inning stretch, not good. can stay connected with a fully customizable experience. You can get White Sox home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast news, and more. So download MLB.com at bat today. And here's what we were just talking about an inning ago. This is a poster child picture of how you beat yourself.
Well, you saw Alan Hansen, even while looking at Mookie Betts. Number one, you got to know Mookie Betts is a wonderful outfielder. Number two, he kept on extending his lead as Mookie was sprinting to a ball that he was going to catch chest high. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, a play that unfortunately went around, and that's where Ever Magianis is talking with Alan Hansen about. He's just selling, look, if you pick up where the outfielder is, it's going to be a lot easier for you. He explained it to him, which is the teaching moment you have to have in those situations. So Chris Beck comes into the ball game at 2-1, his ERA at 4.89, and he takes over for James Shields, who started off fairly rough and then got very good.
Well, James needed that outing, especially after that start in the first two.
Yeah, he battled back and did something positive here. He kept his team against a very good Red Sox team in the game.
That's one thing that Shields will do. He will battle you. He will compete with you. But again, that's exactly what we're talking about. You got to know where your outfielders are. You can't get doubled up on a line drive.
No, because that's a key situation. You got a guy, probably out of all the arms in the Red Sox bullpen, Boyer wouldn't be even close to the top of the arms coming out. That's a guy that if you get a shot, you got to take advantage of, and didn't work out.
There's a strike, and he didn't get it. Wow. Lost start. And there's the dreaded leadoff walk.
I've contended for quite some time that this game, because of the relative closeness and talent all the way around baseball, this game is won and lost 90 feet at a time. And if you take the 90 feet, you're going to win your share. If you give up the 90 feet, you're going to lose your share. And that comes down to really accomplished base running. And you're right, it is a lost art because they don't work on it near as much as they used to.
Well, one thing it proves to me is they're not working on it at high school and college levels as well, because that's something you're taught in Little League almost.
Yeah, you should.
And in Pony League you're taught. Check your outfielders. So by the time you get into professional baseball, that should be automatic. If you're at first base or second base, you check your outfielders. You know where they are. Bradley, a homer, a two-run homer in the second, and he struck out in the fifth. Outfielder deep, for the most part straight up, very much spread out. Got the shift on. He gone.
So Bradley done on strikes for the second time. That ball drifted back, caught the plate.
Caught the middle of the plate.
Yeah, it was a late movement that fooled Bradley.
Mookie Betts. 1 for 3, a double. Come on, Chris. Come back and get it. 3-0 the count. There's one.
There is Derek Holland. Hawk told you earlier that he was in the bullpen last night and again tonight.
Derek's one of those guys, a terrific teammate. Boy, and he will do anything for the team that he's asked to do. A line drive right at him. Yes. Oh boy, Nicky.
Well, that one was scalded. And there's the advantage. That's what this park gives you. In a normal park with Mookie Betts, who's got big power, you're going to be playing fairly deep left field. That ball's going to land in front of you. In this ballpark, where you can play more shallow, that line drive rocket, and it was a sinking line drive right to the backhand, and Nicky was able to make the play. Here comes Rick Renteria. He's going to go to the pen.
Chris came back and got him. So Brock Holt, scheduled hitter. Derek comes in, and we'll be back.
Presented by State Farm. Chris Bowden and J.J. Stankovitz report from Bourbonnais with the latest from Bears training camp. Plus, hear from new quarterback coach Dave Ragone on how he's managing Mike Glennon and Mitchell Trubisky. Our Hyundai call to the pen is Derek Holland. Last year had a couple of relief appearances for Texas. And he's going to appear in his 22nd game. This is first stint out of the pen. There you look at the numbers. ERA at 5.20. He inherits Vasquez at first base and 2 outs here in the 7th.
Brock Holt 0 for 3. Big, huge gap out there in right center. Fastball at 92 upstairs. And the count 2-0. Into left field. Hickey makes the play, so Holland gets the job done. And we'll go to the 8th. We trail it 4-1.
eClick is located in Chicagoland, is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending, now wait for it. Boom! Your mortgage just happened. See, we got the cannon in the background. There it goes. I knew that we would get it out there eventually. Nice job, guys.
Boom.
There it is.
Okay. Meanwhile, we need some booms. We trail it 4-1 here in the top of the 8th inning. Saladino, Abreu, and Smith. With Liuri, Moncada, and Delmonico on deck. And in the hole and waiting. Breaking ball, no. One to count. Tyler's grounded back to the pitcher, reached on an error by Nunez, and he popped up to Devers at third. If you're just tuning in, we scored 1 in the first. The leadoff hitter Tim Anderson homered right over that center field fence. Actually, at the light standard, bounced into the seats and then out of it. Then they scored 2 in the first and 2 in the second. A couple of 2-run homers. One by Bradley and Benintendi. So 1 out here. And here's Abreu. He's 1 for 3 and he's hit the ball hard twice. Don't want to do anything with that on the first pitch.
No, knee-high outside corner. See if he can do it again, and maybe he'll use a little more of the plate with the next pitch.
There's another ball hit hard. That's going to be just he's going to give it a go. And here's the throw. He's safe.
Well,
if he stayed on the bag.
If Holt keeps the glove on him, Jose is out. Now we'll have to see if he did, because I think they want to take another look at it from the dugout. Jose popped up off the bag, and it appeared.
They're going to look at it.
Yeah, it appeared that he kept the glove on. We'll take and slow it down for you. This is a rocket. Benintendi does a nice job of getting it, but that little juggle made it a lot closer than it should have been. Jerry Lane, I mean, was right on the call. Now we'll have to see, is Jose going to the inside part of the bag. And it didn't appear that he did tag him from there. It looked like he was waiting for Jose to come back, and Jose went in with the right hand. Now they'll slow it down and take another look at it and see what comes of it in New York. He got him.
That was a good job by Brock Holt. Good job.
He got the ball, kept the glove there. Now Jose pops off the bag, and right there he probably tagged the arm, and that's what Holt was saying, as Jose now fakes with the leg but comes back with the right hand. That part of it was good. I think he was tagged already on the left hand.
So 2 down. Kevin is 0 for 3. Strikeout, a fly out to right, and a ground out to second. Hit that ground out to second very hard. And Holt's going to get him again. Meanwhile, we still trail it 4-1.
And we're back in relatively close ball game late as Gregory Infante comes in the ball game. On for the 30th time. ERA at 4.70, 0-1 on the record. And he's going to deal with the heart of the order for the Red Sox. Benintendi, Nunez, and Devers.
It's a 4-1 Red Sox lead. One 8-1 for us, 4-5-1 for them. Unfortunately, of the 5 hits, only 3 of them stayed in the park. So here's Benintendi. He had one that left the premises, a 2-run shot in the first inning. That's a can of corn. And a reminder, you can enjoy White Sox baseball from the comforts of the Guaranteed Rate Club while providing your guests with the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience. Now, this private club is the best way to entertain your most important clients, your most important employees, your friends, your family, and are all available for season ticket packages or individual games. So for more information, call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating. Rob Boaz and his people will take care of you.
There's Joe Kelly on the right, Craig Kimbrell on the left, both getting ready. If they don't score, most likely Kimbrell. If they do, it'll be Kelly. It was just off the disabled list.
Come on, Nicky, he's there. 2 out. Here's one of the better looking 20-year-old players that are now in the big leagues. Takes first pitch strike. Rafael is struck out, grounded to second, and grounded to short. First game he hit that opposite field 2-run homer. This goes to show you how the ball comes off his bat. It looked like it was just a pop-up. Maybe could be caught by Anderson. It's short. It just didn't come down.
Well, he's got some strength to acquire, just 20 years old. He's going to get stronger, and eventually that stroke is going to be a power stroke. Right now, 11 was the most home runs he ever had in the minor leagues heading into this season. But in this ballpark, with his ability to take the ball to left and left center field, he could easily be 20 plus every year.
Well, that's why people always misconstrue Fenway Park as far as just being a solid right-handed hitting ballpark. Left-handers are good, smart left-handers who can go the opposite field. It's like shooting fish in a barrel for them.
You remember Lance Berkman, who played for years with Houston. He was ideal for Houston in Minute Maid Park because of the Crawford boxes. He could just flip them out to left field, and that's pretty much exactly what this is here.
Wade Boggs, Hall of Fame third baseman for the Red Sox. Freddie Lynn, center fielder, who was the first Rookie of the Year MVP in the same season back in 1975. They played the Green Monster out there like a fiddle. Big gap in right center. And especially they did it, especially against tough left-handed pitching. They take that slider down, out over the plate a little bit, flip it right off the wall. Good job by Infante. He gone, and we're into the ninth, trailing by 3.
It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's our Miller moment, and it came early in this one. In fact, in the first inning, after an error, Benintendi comes up, and it's his 13th home run of the year, driving in his 56th and 57th run. It was a lead that the Red Sox have never relinquished. Our Miller moment. And because no runs were scored, and because it is a save situation, Craig Kimbrell comes in the ball game looking for save number 26, and this is 30th opportunity. His ERA a touch above 1.5, only 83 strikeouts in 45 2/3 innings.
The Spruce Goose.
Home pitcher.
I love to watch this setup. If you hadn't seen him,
Yep.
I
It's a
love
dandy.
it. Oh, I'll tell you what. There it is. He's ready. He's on point with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. There was a curveball at 87.
Backdoor breaky on the outside corner. When you can throw 100, it's hard to sit on that one first pitch. In fact, if anybody is sitting on it,
If you do, you're nuts.
if anybody's sitting on it, that's a mistake.
If you're sitting on a curveball from Kimball, you got a death wish. I remember the great right fielder of the Red Sox had Dwight Evans. We going to play the Angels. Nolan Ryan's pitching before the game. He's sitting in his locker, and I go, I said, "What are you thinking about, Dewey?" He goes, "Hawk, if you were me, would you sit on Nolan's curveball?" I said, "You want to get dead?" Got him, just got him. And that one at 99. Meanwhile, the leadoff man aboard.
And John Farrell wants him to take another look at it. Kimbrell doesn't think he was hit. Well, he's going to stay at first.
Well, wasn't a bad sell job right there by Lou if it missed him.
If it missed him, yes. Good way to get on base.
So here is Yoan. He's 1 for 3. That one at 99. Last night he hit 100 probably, what, 5 or 6 times?
Yep. He pitched an inning, gave up 2 hits, and then turned our Sox away.
That one at 99.
In fact, against Kimbrel, it was Moncada that led off with a base hit, and then Delmonico hit the ball even harder, and it was 2 on, nobody out, looking like 9th inning was going to be the charm. And after the sacrifice bunt, unfortunately, strikeouts by Sanchez and Anderson.
Yeah, great sacrifice bunt by Adam.
Yeah, because there's a lot easier to bunt against than Craig Kimbrel.
One out.
Just plain old country hardball. Here it is. I'm going to throw it as hard as I can, see if you can hit it. And the answer is no, because of the location. High, just out of the strike zone, and by Moncada.
So here is Nicky, 1 for 2 with a walk and a hard single, leading off the 7th. Did not check it up. That's the one thing about playing in the big leagues and having some experience. And you find out the harder the guy throws, the more you got to wait.
Well, you also talked about something that is not worked on. I know that is a technique for checking your swing.
Oh, there's no question about it. It just mystifies me why guys don't work on it in spring training and develop a technique. You can save yourself quite a few strikeouts, especially right-hand hitters against Jake Arrieta or Corey Kluber
or a Kimbrel.
Or a Kimbrel. And it's easier said than done, obviously, but it's like if you don't want to try it, you're not going to get any better at it. If you don't want to try to work on a technique, and the best thing to do is just as you start and you see, you drop your bat, and that's easier said than done. There he goes. Tell you one thing, that one at 99, he got a piece of it upstairs. You got to make sure you can make it. He had that one made easy if it was missed. He got the shift on. That's got him.
That's the only problem with thinking about a steal in a 4-1 game is just like that.
Well, as I said earlier, we talked about it. And we talked about it over all these years we've been together. And we've seen with our club over the years some bad baseball. I mean, and it's just not our club. Other clubs as well. But the only ones we care about, of course, is ours. You can't beat yourself like getting line drive to right field, getting doubled up, getting picked off in a 4-1 game in the top of the 9th inning. You just can't do those things. Those are mental mistakes.
Yep.
Those aren't physical mistakes. Now, if you're on first base and they're holding you on and there's a line drive to the first baseman, there's nothing you can do about that. But like the 2 we've seen tonight, I mean, that's just mental mistakes. 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And this ball game is over. Stevie, you know, the thing that I'm really pleased about tonight was James Shields. And I'll tell you who else. Infante.
Infante had a good inning, and James Shields came back after a tough